Hello, this is Nick and welcome to my channel. So today I want to do a review of some of my purchases during this quarantine, this lockdown, and I figured it's easier to share my thoughts on this vlog versus typing everything down. So today I want to share with you one of my favorite quarantine purchases since the lockdown, which is this one. And this is actually an electric cup heater that I use for making sure that my tea is always warm. So I like drinking tea, and I don't mind it at whatever temperature. It's actually fine with me. But as the days went by where I drink it every day, because before the lockdown I would drink it like every other day, or I would always drink it hot and then at room temperature when I was working at the office, because the room was air conditioned, and I don't have a cup warmer, and we're not allowed to bring electric equipment to the office. So I kind of got used to drinking room temp tea if I buy like a big cup. But when I was at home, I realized I can always enjoy a warm cup of tea at the comfort of my house, because I can like plug stuff in the outlet, unlike at the office. So I figured I'd buy one, and I got this, I think, around October, November last year, probably. But it was during the cold months where I wanted my tea to be warm when I'm drinking it. So because during the summer I don't mind room temp tea because it's hot, right? But when it's a little colder, I prefer my drinks to be warm. So I got this, and this is actually the second time I bought, because the first time I bought, the seller sent me 110 volts. So there are two options. So a little backstory. So when I bought this, I asked the seller if the US plug, because you have a choice between EU and US plug, and I didn't want to put an adapter for this warmer. So what I did was I asked the seller if the only difference for these are the type of plug that it uses, the plug. If US is also 220 volts, because the US uses 110, 150 volts, 110 volts in rating in their outlets, and in Asia, mainly in the Philippines also, we have 220 volts, but our plugs are actually the US plugs. So seller confirmed that it's just a plug. It's 220 volts. So I ordered the US plug. When it came in, so it was 110 volts. I plugged it in to test it if it was working. It was, but I didn't want to risk it exploding or something. So I did message the seller, and the seller refunded me and to ask me to order again the correct voltage, which I did, because the seller is nice enough to send me refund me, because I did inquire, and the seller did say, right? So, and then I purchased this, which is the EU plug, which is the circle one there. So I have to use an adapter for it. But all is well. I'm happy with it, and let me tell you what I like specifically about this one. So aside from let's go to how it looks first. I really like how it looks. Let's move the wires away. So I really like how it looks. It's white with a black top, and for me it looks really aesthetic for me. Like it looks a little minimalist, clean design. It's white, and it doesn't look cheap, or like it's gonna break down easy. The plastic that it's using is matted, and it just feels really sturdy when you hold it. And then I like the glass finishing on top, that's black, and so there. And I like that there's only one button there, and it lights up. So the specifications of this is that I wrote it down. So the diameter is 12 centimeters. The height is around 2 centimeters. I measured it, and it's different from what's in the pamphlet that they have. The pamphlet says only 1.3 centimeters high, but it's around 2. So there. And it has like a rubber grips at the bottom, and I apologize if you see stains on mine, because it's been heavily used. I use it almost every day. So there are four rubberized stands for it at the bottom so that it doesn't move around. And then you have here a button. This is the button that lets you know, or lets the device know that there's something on top of it. So it will automatically go into standby mode if it's empty. But once you put weight in, so if the cup is full or has contents, it would detect, and then it would switch to one of the no, it won't switch into into the heating modes, but it would know. So if you press the heating mode, it would keep the heating mode on, and then once it's empty, it automatically switches to the standby mode. So it's saving you energy in a way, so it's energy saving. So right, so I like that feature a lot. My only problem is this is not very sensitive, so sometimes I have a cup, and if you don't put in, and since it's here on top, so you have to put your cup around here for it to, for it to detect. And since I like using borosilicate teapots, so they're very light, especially if the content is not, it's not full. It's very lightweight, so it doesn't press. So I have to like press it down to trigger it pushing down, and then it will keep the weight. But other than that, it won't keep the weight there. So, but it's a very negligible issue with it. I like that it has weight sensitivity, and that it switches to like an auto standby mode to save you energy. What I also love about this is that it's so small, and it's not, it's so small. I can put it on your desk. It doesn't take too much space, and it looks really nice. So that's really the reason why I got this. There are other heating pads that I've seen online when I was looking for a heating cup warmer, heating pad, whatever, and they're smaller than this one, but I don't know the capacity of how it would heat up. And because primarily I wanted to heat up my teapots, so I wanted a bigger one. But the thing is, when it heats up, so let's go to the things that I don't like so much about it. It only heats up like this area, which is probably around the same size as the other ones that I've seen online, which is kind of disappointing. So it's only like concentrated on this area, and I think it might be a safety feature for it. Like if you touch on this part, it's not very hot. Um you won't get burned or something, which is, I guess, good. But for me, because I intended this to be a teapot warmer, although it is advertised as a cup mug warmer, so that's fine, right? But I wanted it to have like a bigger surface area to heat. And the thing is, it even if it heats here at the middle, it doesn't affect the ones at the side. So it's really concentrated here in the middle, which makes me think that it's like really small here. I don't know, I haven't opened it. And so that's my issue. And that's an issue for me because even if I use cups, most cups that I've seen, I actually haven't seen a flat bottomed cup yet. Like I haven't, or even a flat bottomed mug, because all of them have like dimples at the bottom. They're not super flat, except for this one. This one's super flat. This is like the flattest that I've had, and nothing else. So like here's a teapot, and so here's a teapot, and you see how it has a rim, and then this one's like a dimple in there. Almost all of the teapots are like that. Almost all of the cups and even mugs are like that. I don't have a mug with me right now, but let me see. Oops. Here's a small version of it. But there's like, you see how there's a rim and there's a dimple in the middle. All of them are like that. The only mug that I have that doesn't have a dimple is the one that has a cork under it. So it's flat, but it's a cork, so it won't work here. So that's my only issue with it. Even if I use a mug, the area that touches the area of the mug or the cup that touches the heating pad is so small that it will be a little difficult to keep the temperature. as true to the advertised temperature. So it's advertised to heat up to 60 degrees Celsius, and I find that if I use my regular teapots, no, not teapots, if I use my regular teacups or mugs, it can't fully heat my drinks to that 60 because of how it's designed, especially my teapots. So when I use so I mainly use my borosilicate on these ones because those are thin and the heat permeates easier, so it heats it up faster. But if you're using ceramic like this, it could barely keep the, like if I set it to 60 degrees, it can't reach 60 degrees. I didn't measure, but I know 60 degrees is really hot, or not, it's hot that, it really feels hot, not lukewarm. So it can't reach that. Although again, since it's not advertised as a teapot warmer, that's kind of okay. It can heat up my tea for like around 50 degrees, but it's not 60. So if you're looking for that kind of really warm, really warm, and you're using like heavy ceramic mugs, I don't think this will make you happy. But if you use like the thin glass ones, borosilicate cups, and so like this one, like a borosilicate cup or a teapot or whatever coffee pot, it can, which is good. But other than that, anything thicker, it can barely reach the 60-degree temperature. But it's still warm. It's just not hot. So if you like your drinks hot, it can't. So there. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to mention, it's spill proof, at least to my experience. I've spilled tea so many times already. Although it's not like spilling so much tea like it flooded the area. So just small splashes of tea. It doesn't, it's not broken. There's no space here that for the tea to seep in. And I guess because it's hot, um, if something seeps in, it's gonna melt, or not melt, it's gonna evaporate anyway. And this one here, it's also black, like there's no space. I don't know what this is for, because I was thinking like it's an exhaust or something, but there's no space, so I don't know. So maybe it's just like a heat sink or something, I don't know. But there. So overall, I am really happy with this purchase. And um, if you would ask me if I would recommend for you to try this or for you to buy this, because there's no trial, right? If I would recommend for you to buy this, I would definitely recommend it, especially if you're a tea drinker and you like teapots. I highly recommend you get a borosilicate teapot to get the most out of this product. With ceramics, it can, like, if your tea is only like a quarter full, it would work, like it can heat it up. But if it's like it's full to the normal fullness of it, not to the brim, but to the regular fullness of your tea, like at around here, it can't heat it up that well. It's warm, but it's not hot. So if you like your drinks hot, it's not. But if you use borosilicate, it's gonna be hot. Like I have this, and sorry, there's no cap because I'm drying this. But if you use these ones, there is still a dimple at the bottom. You can see it. Yeah, there's still a dimple at the bottom, but because it's thin, it can heat up the entire thing. And if you keep it turned on at max, it doesn't reach 60 if it's a teapot, but it's almost there. It's warm enough, and you can drink your drinks warm. So there. Okay, so here's the cup warmer in action, and you can see, I don't know if you can see it, but this is purple right now, and the way the LED works is that it cycles through red and blue really fast to make a purple. So I don't know if you can see it like flashing on the video, but that's it. So this is purple, and this means it's on standby. It's not heating up the cup. And then if you press it, oops, it will go into red. And when it's flashing like that, it means that it can't detect a cup And if you just leave it flashing like that, after a while it will go back to the standby mode. So this one, so if you see it flashing red, it just tells you that the cup is empty, or that it can't find empty, or it can't find your detect your cup. So what I did was I pressed down, and you can see it went into a solid red right now, which means it could detect weight. It knows that there's something on top of it, and it will heat up this cup from 50 to 60 degrees centigrade. And so if you leave it like that, it would probably take a few minutes to raise the temp. So, and then let's move again. So tapping it again will give you blue, and the same concept, that if it's flashing blue, it means it can't detect the cup. But when it's a solid blue, it means that it's heating up your cup to 40 to 50 degrees centigrade. So just a little trivia, 60 degrees centigrade is the recommended temperature for germs, bacteria, and probably most germs, bacteria, viruses die. So again, most, not everything. So that 60 is the ideal temp, at least in the culinary world. That's 60 degrees. So I usually choose, so hold on, so we have to press it again. So next press would turn it into purple again, and that means it's on standby. I usually stay on red, mainly because, especially when I use teapots on here, because it can't reach the 60 degree temperature. So the higher it is, at least the warmer my drink is going to be. With this cup though, it could easily reach 60, because it's thin and the bottom is very flat. So it gets the temperature, although it should be like in the middle, because again, the heating coil or whatever the heating implement is inside is at the middle. So it's ideal to put it there. But usually I put it here towards the light, because this is where the detector button is. So what do I still want to say? Yeah, so that's it. So I guess go buy. I don't know. I'll link to the product below. I got it off Lazada, and I'm gonna link the seller down in the comments. Not because it's a paid advertisement. This is not. It's just that I am really happy with this tea warmer or cup warmer, and the seller was very nice to actually grant my refund, because he could have opted not to refund, right? Even if it was his fault or her fault. I don't know, their fault. But they did refund, and it made me really happy with the service of the seller selling at Lazada. This came from China. It took 2 weeks probably to arrive, 2 to 3 weeks, which is the normal time that you need to wait when things come from China. So there. Thank you for watching. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Oh, and if you have like tea warmers that you recommend that I could use for my teapot, let me know in the comments too. And I will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching. Bye.